Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in the Your Little Castle studio, and we get to have fun, cool people on our shows in this studio who do good things in the community. And I love the Backstoppers and I love the Shriners. So you're having this big event at the Moolah Shrine Center, the Backstoppers annual big dance party. Am I right? Is that what we got going on here? It's over there in Creve Coeur. So in studio with me today, ladies and gentlemen, John Gherardini. Did I say that right?
You did.
And then Michael King right next to me. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And so let's talk a little bit about this event. So the event is coming up this Saturday. This recording will be shared on my social media and out to the organizations, groups that we use to help distribute all this stuff. We got some big organizations we've partnered with that have 20 and 30,000 followers. And so hopefully we get this out to a lot of people before Saturday. And then it will likely air, hopefully, on ABC sometime in the next month or two after the event's over. But just as a good reminder to everybody, so they should come next year.
It's an annual event.
It's an annual event. It's been around for 23 years.
Correct.
Wow, that's a long time. Yeah. I was 7 back then. I'm much older than that, everybody. But tell us all about.
10.
You were 10. There you go.
I was 4.
But it is literally, it's one of the coolest events. I've been to it a number of years, and it's fun and dancing and bands.
And good bands.
Who's the band coming out this year?
What is it?
It's Rocky Matina and the Convertibles.
The Convertibles.
Okay. And so, John, tell us who that band is and what they're doing.
Well, it's a group of people that play. There's a group of people, and they play different weddings and big events. So we were lucky to get them, and they were wanting to play this event for a number of years, and we finally have been able to get it worked out.
Well, that's exciting. So, Michael, what do you enjoy most about this event, and why is it so exciting for you?
Well, I don't get involved with a lot of charities, but this is a very good charity due to the fact that it supports the fallen families, and we all know what that's all about. I mean, we have fallen officers and public workers all the time. Every time you get the news on, you hear about firemen getting hurt or police officers. So this raises the money for the families, help support them, even all the way up to children going to college. And we've been doing it for enough years, and we have fun with it. We made a lot of friends over the years with people coming to it, and it's just a great group of people.
Well, I'm with you, and I agree that when it comes down to the events that are going on in St. Louis, this is one of the coolest. I mean, you try to just get out there and be involved in the community, and everybody's like, hey, what's the big event going on this weekend? And for years, are you Scott Smith? Is he part of this?
He was, but he's retired.
And he retired, okay. And Scott, for years ago, he said, Carter, can you help us? And I bought the domain, thebigparty.com for him. And we put up a little thing back in the day. I didn't tell you guys about that. But that was fun. And I said, yeah, man, it's a great cause. I'll help any way that I can. So we just threw up a quick little thing so people could find it. Maybe I should get that and figure out where they went. But, I mean, it's because it's such an awesome, powerful event, especially when you consider what the Backstoppers really do. Tell us, from your guys' perspective, I mean, when it comes down to it, what kind of an impact does the Backstoppers really have with what they do for everybody?
Just the support of the families, that's what it's all about. And my uncle was a fire chief, not in St. Louis, but in a small town. So, I knew what kind of a life they have. It's dangerous work.
Right. So, Michael, what is your perspective on all of that?
I agree with John. I mean, we ask these people to risk their lives on a daily basis, and there's there's plenty of them out there that have a passion for it. And when you meet those people, you could tell, because they don't make a lot of money, and that's the reason we do it. We try to support upcoming medical bills and different types of bills that they would have, and support their spouses and families if they were, God forbid, died at the job. So it helps support the families.
Well, if you talk about how important that is with regard to, our culture, our society, and the things that are necessary. I mean, if you don't have people that are backed by the community in such a fashion, then you're going to have some tough people that are saying, I'm not taking that risk. I've got other things I can do to make a living.
Yeah.
But these jobs are absolutely critical, and I can speak from personal experience. A lot of people do know this, but some people may not, and you can't see it because are those studio lights too bright? But on the forehead up here, I've got a nasty scar that most people don't recognize. I wear the hat a lot of times, and I don't do that to cover it up, but I just happen to wear the hat, and that's a different story. But I was in a coma caused by a drunk driver, and if these guys weren't there, these EMTs were not there, the police officers were not there at the scene doing exactly what they were supposed to do to save my life, I would not be here, for sure. Yeah. And there's no doubt about that. But because they did, and because we've got such an awesome system that's supported so strongly, that's pretty powerful. Any comments you guys have about that and why that?
When I pass out the flyers and things like that, I get the comment. We love the Backstoppers. I hear that all the time. We love the Backstoppers, and then I also hear stories about people who've they've helped. Just saved their lives, like yourself.
Yeah, and just amazing what they've done, because if those guys weren't there, I would not be sitting here to this day, and I espouse that and believe that. And
I think we all can agree there's bad apples everywhere, correct? So they've been getting a really bad rap for the past 2 or 3 years.
Too long.
And I've got many friends that are in the service, and they're great people. Like I said, they have a passion for it. They don't make a huge living. And it's a shame that the good ones don't get more recognition than the bad ones. It seems like everybody wants to grab onto the bad stories, but they never hear about the good stories like yourself.
Well, I was very fortunate because my story is pretty much about the fact that, 3 seconds later, I mean, they literally were pulling away, and I looked like I was in decent shape. My jaw was broken, a big scar on my head, blood coming out. And I was okay, I was coherent, and I was having a conversation. I don't remember any of this. And then I started to have seizures. And they pulled the drunk driver out that hit us, because he was in the ambulance first, just as a matter of getting people into the ambulance. And had they not had the insight to do so and pull him out and put me in because the ambulance was pulling away, that was it. I mean, those are the critical, instantaneous decisions that have to be made by these guys to save lives. And they do it they could have, maybe some of them could have been famous Hollywood actors or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily, the point I'll go on with this, and tell me if you guys agree, life is not about fame and money. Some people think so, right? And believe me, it's some of that stuff, as we know, is kind of a pain in the butt and whatever. It's about being happy. Yeah. And how do you feel like you're really contributing the most, except for when you've done something to really make a difference? That's why I say, if you ever, not to get into but the millionaires out there, you find out they've got studies that show that their happiness level is very low compared to some of the other people. But how many teachers do you know that really love what they do?
Right.
And have a passion for it, and EMTs and firemen and policemen. And so that's where I think when it comes down to it, but we've got to put the right pieces in place to support those guys so that when they have, because the idea, tell me if I'm right about Backstoppers, is that they may not have the financial means anymore because they can't work anymore because of the injury that they had.
That's correct.
And so they're paying for them to essentially compensate for that, and sometimes building them houses that are handicapped or disabled accessible so that they can function still. And they would not be able to do any of that on their own because they didn't make the kind of money to pay for that themselves, but they come in and they do that for them. Is that the kind
I think a lot of people don't understand the chaos we would be in without them. I think that's the part that needs to be brought out, and with these fundraisers and things like that, it's a necessary service that the better they do their service, the better we all live in our community. So
yeah, well, I mean, that's the key to it. And I'm just super excited to even be involved with you guys just a little bit to say, hey, let me do what I can to highlight some of what's going on with this big event that raises a lot of money, all for an incredible cause.
Right.
And you guys are the ones that make it happen.
Well, thank you for having us here.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because we're always going to put all kinds of leaders on Your Little Castle, where we highlight the real estate, the housing, and those people who just have a household. If you have a household, you probably have there's millions of businesses out there that are related to that, and we want to highlight them on this show. And then the organizations within the community that make it all happen. And that's why I wanted to have you guys on here for this big event, the big party at the Moolah Shrine Center this coming Saturday, which is going to be, what is that?
It's the third Saturday.
It's always the third Saturday in January.
Always
Every
the
year.
third Saturday.
Happens to be, as I'm looking at my calendar here, right? Today is
It's the
it'll be the
15th.
15th, right? I've got it on my calendar to show up there, and I'll be up there with the
21st next year.
21st next year, yeah,
year.
because of that third. But I'm fortunate, and you see our sponsor there, Carroll House Furniture. Brooke is coming to meet me here prior, and we're going to shoot his little sponsorship
Oh, good.
video about why he loves this show and what we're doing, and then we're going to your guys' event,
Oh,
Great.
good. Thanks
We'll look
again.
forward to seeing you there.
and we'll be there. So, guys, again, thank you so much for taking the time to come into the studio. Give it up for John Gherardini and Michael King, and hopefully we have another huge successful event this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Stay tuned. More fun with you right here on the Your Little Castle show. All right, everybody. We'll be back in a little bit. Giddy up.